We're going to continue with the Windows theme, and JB gave us a lot of in-depth details about settings and changes on that. And we're going to turn things over, and Bill James, who's our Windows guy, is going to be talking about all the little hidden things about security. And we're using the Windows Security, which used to be Windows Defender, and it went through all those name changes. And it offers a lot of various features that can be considered competitive against other antivirus software in the market. The understanding I have now is that we have people who say that Windows Security is on par with the other programs. But, it might not be perfect, and if, this is a non-perfect world. But he's going to talk about some advanced features that users can do, like a VPN and enterprise scale security, third-party products. So Bill, how about taking it over and giving us all the in-depth that we need to know about Windows and security?
Thank you, John. I'm going to share my screen briefly here.
What about your handout?
I was going to send that, but apparently there's been a change to Zoom, and it doesn't let me attach a file. It sends a link, and I tested it, and I didn't see the link, so I'm not sure. We'll have to send it out as the as part of the referral material.
Got it. Thanks.
It's okay.
Okay, well, I'll just say there's another thing. There's another option choice for a file that when you go to the chat down at the bottom, there's a piece of paper with a corner that is for sending a file.
That's what I tried, and it did not work like it did in the past. So
okay,
that was a disappointment, but we'll forge on. So can everyone see my screen?
good to go.
Well, we're going to talk about Windows security secrets that are both available in Windows 10 and Windows 11. Microsoft's Windows security, was previously known as Windows Defender, offers various features that can be considered competitive against other antivirus softwares that's on the market. However, within any product, Windows security is not perfect and may not meet your needs. For example, some users might require advanced features like VPN or have specific needs that are related to enterprise scale network security. Many third-party products such as Norton and Avast and others offer these features. So you need to probably evaluate what your needs are on an individual basis. I've used Windows Defender, now Windows Security, since its inception, and that's been a number of years, and so far I have not had any difficulties that I could attribute by not using Windows Defender. But some of the things we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to do a live demo as well. But some of the things that I would like to tell you is that you want to keep your Windows security up to date. So you want to ensure that you regularly update Windows security by installing the latest Windows updates. And these updates would include important security patches and enhancements that address new threats. So you'll want to enable automatic updates. And by default, Windows 10 and 11 is set to receive automatic updates. It's a good idea to double check the settings to ensure that that is enabled. And to do this, you want to go to settings by clicking on the start button and selecting the gear icon and then navigate to the update and security and click the Windows Update in the left sidebar to ensure that automatic updates is turned on. Now, what I want to show you here is that in Windows 11, there are differences in how the start menu works. So in the case of Windows 11, which I'm showing you here, when you hit Windows Update, you get the start menu. You want to go down to the gear, and in this case, I have mine placed in this area. Yours might be in another area. But when you click on that, you're going to see that there's been a change in how the system menu looks. So this is the Windows 11 version, and I'm going to stop sharing this and show you what the Windows 10 version looks like. The difference you'll find is that in Windows 11, they've taken the tile display and moved them to the left of the screen, where they've broken these out individually. So these actually match the same ones that were in the Windows 10 version. So let me stop sharing here and start sharing here. So when I hit the gear, you get this view. And if you notice that we now have, this is displayed as tiles rather as a list in Windows 11, but all of these are still available in Windows 11. The only difference is that when I hit System here, it then provides the list on the left of the areas that pertain to that particular setting. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to navigate between the two. So that's what we're going to be talking to. I'm going to be primarily talking about Windows 11, so I'm going to be using the Windows 11 screen. One other thing you want to do in order to keep your Windows security up to date is that you want to check for updates manually. And to do so is I'm going to go to privacy and security. I'm going to go to, you notice that Windows Update is down as a separate entity now. So I'm just going to click on Windows Update. And right now, as you see, I have an update that is waiting in the wings, but it will not run because I have my active hours set so that updates will not run between the hours of 8 and midnight. So I will not have to worry about that running, even though that they are waiting. So I have two updates. They're both pending restart. But I prefer to install my Windows updates properly. I think that is important to install these to keep my system and security up to date, because they often include critical security patches that are known vulnerabilities. I know there's some other thoughts that perhaps you should wait, and because there might be a bug in these. But if you think about it, in the scheme of things, if there is a bug, it'll be fixed pretty quickly, and it really won't have any negative effect on your system. As I said, again, you want to be able to make sure you configure your active hours, and it allows you to specify the times that you typically use your computer. So if you go here to advanced options in Windows 11, I'm going to click the tile, and you'll see where it says active hours. And currently they're set not to do anything in the form of updates between the hours of 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. because those are what I consider my active hours. To the right of that, you'll see a drop down, which you can click, and there is also a way to have those set automatically. Now, those will run automatically based on your usage. I prefer to set it manually. So I have manually, I can go here and set those between 8 and 11. So it's just a matter of just clicking here, and this would be a 9. That's 9 a.m. That's my beginning active hours. For my ending active hours, I go here and I would go to AM, and I would hit 3. And then I hit the checkbox. And now my active hours are manually set. I have it more than 18 hours, so let's do that again. And now my hours are set for the new time. From 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. And as it says, we want to restart your device during these hours. So if you're having any kind of difficulty with this, you need to check your active hours. The other area is your Microsoft Store app update. To do that, you want to go to the store. And go down here to where it says library. And here you will see all the applications that are installed from the store. You can then click on get updates, and it will then go in and check of any applications that are available for the Microsoft Store that has updates. And in this case, there's only one, and it's going to automatically go ahead and download it and install it. So all these other ones are have been updated automatically, but there might be some instances where there's a couple that may not update. And this library is divided into apps. If you have any games that you have installed from the store, any movies or TV items that you've purchased or you have installed, they'll show here, and then any that are included that you didn't have. So it didn't. This device did not come with any additional content, so it's not. Nothing shows here. a lot of people forget about the Microsoft Store, but you should check it periodically. You may have to sign in with your Microsoft account if it asks for that. Lastly, you want, again, is enable Microsoft Update. And to do that, we're going to go back to Windows Updates. And we're going to
Oh, Bill.
yes. And here where it says optional updates, you want to go and check these. These will not probably be automatic. And then also, so there's several things that you want to look at when you're in the Windows Update area. So once we've got that done, now let's look at what we need to do as far as enabling the different settings in Windows Defender. So I'm going to go back to my start menu. I'm going to go back to settings. And then I'm going to go to privacy and security. And then at the very top, you're going to find Windows Security. I'm going to click on that. And now it shows me all the areas within Windows that is protected by Windows Defender. There's my virus and threat protection, account protection, firewall network protection, app and browser control, device security, device performance and health, and then lastly, family options. We won't discuss that, but you might want to go and look at that if you have children in your household or any individuals that you want to restrict their access to. So I'm going to click now on virus and threat protection. And here I'm going to look at my real-time protection. So under Windows Security, hold on. Back one. So here I'm in the virus and threat protection. And you can see it's checking your current threats. It also allows you to do quick scans. And when you click that, that gives you immediate scans. You can go here and click on scan options. And here it allows you to look at, you can change this from quick scans to full scan to custom scan. And you can also do what's referred to as a Microsoft Defender antivirus offline scan. And how that is used is that if you have a malicious software that has affected your device and you want to do it offline, then you can then scan without being connected to the internet to remove any threats that has occurred with up-to-date definitions. And then that will restart your device, and it will take about 15 minutes to do this. So if so also you'll notice here that it says virus and threat protection settings. No action is needed, but below that, if you click manage settings, you'll find other things that should be turned on, such as real-time protection. Those should be toggled on. Cloud delivery protection should be turned on, and automatic sample submission. And you can submit a sample file of anything that you might have a issue with to find out if it's in fact legitimate. And you can submit the sample file here by just clicking this, and it will then allow you to submit a file for malware analysis. Now note that it says they might need any personal. It says we'll prompt you if the file we need is likely to contain personal information. So the next one is Windows security firewall. So I click on firewall and network protection, and you'll notice that it shows that my firewall zone for the domain network is also on for the private network, which is active, and my public network. And then below that, you'll find some other links to allow an app through the firewall if you need to configure that. If you have some special application that is blocked by a firewall, you can go here and allow those to communicate through the firewall. And you can also change those settings. So under our firewall and network protection settings, you can also enable the firewall for a specific network profile. you can click the network profile and ensure the toggle is switched, says next to Windows Defender that the firewall is turned on. And if it's already on, the firewall is enabled for that particular profile. There's additional things to look for. You have some advanced settings here. You'll get your user account control, just say yes. And then you'll get this view, and you can go in and look at any of the advanced settings. If you're knowledgeable in this area, this might be particularly helpful for you to go in and make additional changes that you require. But just for us casual users, we probably will not need to use the advanced settings. And then lastly, you can restore your firewall to the default settings. Because by default, Windows Defender will use its recommended settings for each network profile. And these are my network profiles. As I said, but you can customize the firewall settings for each profile down in advanced settings. In the Windows Defender firewall with advanced settings, you configure the various firewall rules and settings. Here you can allow or block specific programs, open or close ports, set inbound and outbound rules based on your needs. You can do rules. You can modify any existing rules by right-clicking on them and selecting the properties. You can have you can configure the firewall settings as desired by clicking OK to save changes. So the built-in Windows firewall helps you protect your device by controlling your network traffic and blocking unauthorized access. By enabling and customizing the firewall settings, you can enhance the security of your system and safeguard against potential threats. Remember that you should regularly review and update the firewall rules to ensure they align with your security needs. The next one is managing your control folder access. The control folders is a feature in Windows security that protects specific folders from unauthorized changes by malicious software. And you can add folders to protect the list to prevent unauthorized access and modification. To use this, you want to again go to virus and threat protection. And then you want to go down to manage ransom protection. So you have to click manage ransom protection here. And here you'll find control folder access. So you will want to ensure that this is turned on. And the reason why I say that, to make sure these are turned on, because in some cases, they may not be. So it's always good to go in and take a look at exactly what is on and what is not. So when we're talking about control access, is that you can, the protected folders, these are the ones that are actually done by default. So you have documents, and it will show the path. In this case, I have 2 document folders because one of mine is in OneDrive. which is cloud storage, which is also being protected, as well as the one I have on my C drive. I have pictures, which is the same configuration, both the ones that are on my, both the ones that are in, one is in OneDrive and one is on my hard drive. So that's why you see the multiple entries. But these are the ones that are currently being protected. If I want to add a protected folder, if I create a folder of my own, I can click on the plus box and go here and select the folder that I want to be added to that list. You can also view the history of your blocked folders. And as you say, view the latest protection actions and recommendations from Windows Security. Apparently on this one, there was a protected folder access that was blocked on this date, which was earlier this week. So I can click that to find out exactly what that is. And it says, your administrator has blocked this action. And what it was an Adobe CC client execute. And it was blocked by the control folder. I can allow this app to access those if I trust that app by going here to actions and say allow on device. But I'm going to leave it as it is because whatever caused this to occur, it did not affect me to not use Adobe at that time when I was using it. So I'm not going to make any changes to that. This was probably the same thing. And this one right here was a folder that was in Zoom. But I have no reason to make any changes to those because they did not have a problem with me accessing, trying to do whatever I was trying to do with that particular application. But if it was a problem, then this would say hi, and then I would go down to the actions and allow the action to occur. There's also a setting here to utilize the ransomware protection. And as you see here, ransomware protection. It's built in, and it assures you that you don't have any unauthorized encryption attempts. So it's designed to safeguard your files from unauthorized encryption by malicious ransomware. So so you want to click here, manage ransomware protection. And again, it will, it's enabled. Under this control access, and also it says you may be able to recover files in these accounts in case of a ransomware attack. And so OneDrive Personal premium account with recovery using file restore. So I have no ones that are in that category at the moment. So there's nothing going to show. So if we continue to explore Windows security settings, Windows security is going to provide various settings and options to customize your security preferences. So you want to spend some time exploring these settings to ensure they align with your requirements and provide the desired level of protection. So in Windows 10 and 11, the security settings provide various options to allow you to manage your device's security features. So if you look on the left side of your screen, you're going to find the various ones. In Windows 10, there'll be the tiles that we showed earlier. And in Windows 11, there's going to be a list on the left side. So in your virus and threat protection, you're going to have where you can access and configure your Windows Defender antivirus, set up periodic scans, manage virus and threat protection settings, and view scan history. In your account protection, you're going to be able to enable features like Windows Hello. Now, Windows Hello is really based on the hardware of that you have installed on your computer. So you can manage the sign-in options by clicking here. And then if you have a face recognition module on your computer, you will be able to configure it. A fingerprint scanner, which I have 2 laptops that have that, and I can configure that here. My PIN, if I wanted to be able to log onto my computer with a PIN number, I can sign in using that, and I can configure it here. And then if you have a security key, you can also configure that. There are some additional settings that you can go through. Say, for instance, dynamic lock is very interesting because you can use, say, for instance, a cell phone to automatically lock your computer when you walk away from it. And if you wanted to use that, you would click that box. And then anytime you come in proximity of their computer, I mean, anytime you walk away from your computer, it would automatically lock the machine. Another thing that you want to be aware of, automatically save my restartable apps and restart them when I sign back in. What that happens is that if you notice that you have anything open, like a Word document or whatever, and you close your machine with those still open, they will restart automatically with this setting turned on. If you don't want that to happen, then you would turn that off. But I have it turned on, so a lot of times when I'm away from my machine and I restart it for whatever reason, those apps that I had left open, they will restart automatically. Also, I can use my sign-in info automatically if I sign in after an update. I don't have to do that with that turned on. And there's a lot of other things that you can just go in and take a look at and adjust those to your liking. Now remember these, they have an arrow to the right, you just click that and it gives you your additional information. And to get back to the previous screen, let's just go back. You can either use clicking on the area that you were in, and that'll take you one screen back, or use the back button, which will take you back to the previous setting. Now, one of the other things that is not part of, is part of Windows security, but it is also a part of your browser, and it's called app and browser control. And this option allows you to protect your device from malicious apps and files and websites. And you can configure the behavior of Smart Screen for apps as well as for Microsoft Edge and other browsers. The app and browser control is in under apps, and if you go here, you can go for apps for websites, and here you see all the apps that are linked to websites such as Maps, Microsoft Defender, Teams, etc. And so here it opens links in an app instead of a browser. So you can control that how you want. So if you wanted to use the, say for instance, you have a map app on your computer, and when you are browsing and you want that app to open on the application you have installed on your computer, rather than using the one in the browser, you can control that by turning this on or off. Also, additionally, is that in Edge, you also have what is called Smart Screen. And Smart Screen allows you to, make sure I can get to it. Okay, so here, as you see, Microsoft Defender Smart Screen, and it is turned on. And what that does is helps you protect you from malicious sites and downloads with Microsoft Defender Smart Screen. And it's built into the browser. So you want to make sure that that's turned on. Now remember that Smart Screen is really different from a pop-up blocker. It checks the sites you visit and the files you download for threats to your security. Pop-up blockers simply block most pop-ups, which are usually advertisements and not necessarily malicious. So there are also other things here that you want to look at as far as that has to do with your security as well. So you can turn those on. But remember that that is built into the browser, and you have to go to Microsoft Edge if you're using it to enable that feature. So lastly, if you want to keep informed of your latest security and best practices, Microsoft has something which they call the Microsoft security blog, which you can get to by just typing in Microsoft security blog, and you'll come to this site. And what it will tell you, it gives you the latest information about what's occurring in the security world. It'll tell you about threat intelligence, which in this case, there's a cadet Blizzard emerges as a novel and distinct Russian threat actor. There's zero trust. There's analysis reports, public preview, improve Windows 32 app security via app isolation. Things that are trending within the security world. So it's something that you can go and review periodically. And you'll find just a wealth of information, documentation, official guides and tutorials on Windows security features. If you look here at the top, you have solutions. You have, it shows you products, shows you services, partners, resources, just a wealth of information. And it also provides links to other relevant resources such as Microsoft Security Intelligence, Microsoft Defender Antivirus, and other security related tools and services. So as I said, privacy and security is where you should go if you're in Windows 11, and then you'll find Windows security. And here you have all the information as pertains of your security of your system. And if you find a yellow badge like you see here under the apps and browser control, actions recommended, I'll show you what to do here. At this particular moment, these are all green, so there's not a real issue. So I'm just going to go here and click on this to turn that on, and then that will then go away. Now in Windows 10, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. I have the exact same thing if I go under update and security.
We're not
Windows
seeing that.
update. Oh, I'm sorry. I have the exact same thing, except that in Windows 10, Windows security is not separate. It's under update and security. And then I have to go here to Windows. I then come into Windows security. Here, it's a separate box. And then you see the same information. So it's just a difference of how they presented it. In Windows 10, it's under updated security. And then you go to Windows security. In Windows 11, Windows security is broken out separately. So with that, John, I think I'm at the end, and I'm open for any questions, for any clarifications.
That was
And
very, very in depth. It's amazing how many different levels and sub levels. And I think for me, the takeaway is that it's really sad that we have to have so much security and options that we just can't go out and do what we want to do. But I guess that's the difference between today and a generation ago.
You know, the thing that's interesting about Windows, the built-in security features, I think a lot of people don't realize that they have all of the features that you find in applications that you pay for, that you really can get from Microsoft for free. And my take about using Microsoft, the Microsoft product, is that Microsoft is the one that has built the operating system. And in past years, Microsoft has always been targeted for all kinds of malware and viruses and so forth. And so in my thinking, who's better to be able to protect their operating system against those kinds of attacks than the manufacturer, because they're the ones that have an issue with their product, and they want to continue selling. They want to build the best product they can. So I think that they are really conscious of how to build the best security for their own products.
I have a couple of questions. For the offline scan, is the internet automatically disconnected?
No, but Windows Defender is disconnected.
Okay. Do you have to log in under Windows 11 after any reboot?
It depends on how you have your settings. If you what I'd use is net. Let me think. I always get that. It's how you have your startup settings set, and there is a oh, I can't think of the command, but you can go in and have that turned off so that you do not have to log on after reboot. Net, what is it called? Net. I'm sorry, I can't remember what the name of the command is, but you can go in and change and turn that off so that on reboot, you don't have to do the login.
You mean restart?
On the restart or
Right,
anybody,
that's just automatic. You don't, I don't have a command. I just,
but there
I
is a
don't,
command to turn that off, if I can think about it.
Yeah.
Net.
I always restart and it just comes back up. I don't have to log in again.
Well, if you have it, if you have your, it's how you have your startup fixed, because one, it says log on, turn on, require log on every time you restart. Oh, gosh.
I must have been smart enough not to check that box then.
Wait, hold on.
I only, you know,
I just thought about it. Hold on, let me share my screen. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
thank you.
One thing about these things, they do it. Okay, so how to enable or disable secure sign-in on Windows 10. It also works with 11. So I'm going to click on this. And the command is, whoops. The command is net netplwiz, and you put that in the run box, which I'm going to do right now. So here, secure sign-in. For added security, you can require users to press Control-Alt-Delete before signing in. This guarantees that the authentic Windows sign-in screen appears, protecting the system from programs that mimic or sign in to retrieve passwords. So if I check this box, that would require you to press Control-Alt-Delete in order to get into your computer. So the command is to get there is under the run command. And you get this box. And then under If this box is checked, then that means that you're going to have to put in your password and user ID. Or your password, I'm sorry.
Any other questions for Bill? Don't forget, Tom, you're
has one.
unmute your, thank you.
Good afternoon, Judy and Bill. May I kindly offer one clarification to the internet online on the offline scan?
Sure.
I love that Microsoft has included the offline scan in the security center. That's actually the entire operating system offline. You boot from alternate media. The installed operating system on the disk is not running. It's particularly useful, and forgive me because I missed that part of your presentation, but it's particularly useful if you think you've been hit with a rootkit or some of the malicious software that really tries to seek to evade anti-malware software that's running in the environment. If the operating system is on the disk, and you haven't booted from the disk operating system, the malware is inert. It's present in the file system, but all of its hiding techniques are mute or inert because the OS isn't running. And then the offline scan runs from different media and is allowed to inspect that without being subverted by any of the malware. And it's a really, really useful tool. Having that inbox,
Okay.
it's especially useful, always, creating a tool from a potentially contaminated environment always means that the tool can be subverted, but created on a known clean machine and go after a suspect machine, and you get a really high percentage chance.
Okay, Tom, I guess I misunderstood how that worked because I've never used it, but I was under the impression that when you check that box, the scan was scanning your system using the data definitions that were already downloaded. So you have, but you're saying you have to use a third media in order to make it work?
I think it uses a separate. Does it use the recovery partition on the disk? Does it download?
I thought that's what it was doing.
Okay, it may. Yeah, but it doesn't boot from. It's not booting from. Let's say you do a default install and you're in C Windows system. It's not booting from C Windows system. It's booting from an alternate environment. It's running in WinRE. It's running in the Win recovery environment, not the installed operating system. Is that correct?
Yeah, but you don't have to have a disk. It's going to run from the machine itself.
Okay,
but
then
it's using the recovery.
It's using the recovery partition, but it's not running. Okay, so it's booting from an alternate partition, not the Windows boot partition, not C Windows System 32.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
That's my understanding.
I stand yeah.
No, you were correct, but I just didn't think you had to use a third. I didn't think you had to have a physical disk or a flash drive or anything to make it run.
Yeah, I stand well clarified then. Thank you, sir.
Gary. Unmute, please.
I normally just run Windows Defenders, but a few days ago I decided to run Malwarebytes again, which I normally don't run because it always showed a PUP I didn't like, or it was a problem. And I ran it, and I just a few minutes ago while we're in the, during the Zoom, I noticed that Windows Defender was on, and it turned off. I'm sorry, Malwarebytes was on. It had turned off my Defender without me knowing it.
Well, let me tell you, there's two versions of Malwarebytes. One is a is the paid version, which
Yeah.
actually works as an antivirus. So it will turn it off because that version is considered an antivirus, and you can't run two antiviruses at the same time. But the thing that I'll go back to the previous presentation when they talked about the MRT. I learned something. I didn't realize that that Windows removal tool was actually Microsoft's version of Malwarebytes. And apparently you can run that manually just as you would Malwarebytes.
Yeah.
And it's you frequently get updates to that because it'll say Microsoft removal tool, malware. I can't remember what the complete phrase is, but that's actually Microsoft's version of Malwarebytes. So I'm going to start doing that. I mean, I can run it manually. Let's just see how that works. I'm going to share my screen. I'll go here and put in the run command. I think it's what he said. So here's malware's Windows malicious software removal tool, and click Next to remove specific malicious software. And then you got quick scan, full scan, customized scan. So it works almost identically to Malwarebytes. And then you can just click Next, and then it starts scanning.
Gary, if you
Yeah.
use the free,
I did not know that.
it does tell Windows Security that it's a security program. So Malwarebytes is no more on my recommendation list. That's as of this. I just Googled it, and that happened September 22, and now they reiterated it again in an article this month. But even the minute you put Malwarebytes of any kind, it says to Defender or Windows Security, this is my new security program.
But can I add one more thing? I'd noticed that I went in and looked at it, and I was able to enable Defenders to be running also with Malwarebytes, even though now I've dumped Malwarebytes, like you said, I don't like it. But I was able to make Defender running again, even while this Malwarebytes was still running too.
Yeah.
Well, my
strange.
understanding, there was two versions. I thought the free version was not considered as a antivirus, and the paid version was. But I stand corrected because I don't use it.
I think you're right. It's the problem is that most people who, like me, would want the free version. You get the paid version for a while for a trial. So during that time that the Defender or Malwarebytes is running as the trial version, it is the antivirus that would be turning the Windows off, because you can't have the two. Once you stop the free trial, then it goes back to working side by side.
Yes, that's exactly, now that I remember, happened. I had installed the trial version of Malwarebytes, and I think that's what caused this change in Defenders.
And when you install it, there is a box that you have to. It's kind of buried that you can go in and bypass installing that free trial. Someone showed me how to do that. I've since forgotten how, but anyway, Malwarebytes, depending on what version you have, can be considered an antivirus, and it will turn Windows Defender off.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you. Just kind of crazy. I didn't know it.
But I'm going to start using the malicious tool manually.
Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah, the other thing that Malwarebytes can do that I don't think you mentioned, or anybody else has, is I think it's just in the paid version, but it also can scan ports and other IPs that connect to you. And if it sees any malicious software on those, it can block those IPs. I use that one all the time. So I have it running in addition to the Windows Defender and to the antivirus at all, and they all get along fine. The only thing I have noticed with the Windows Defender is that when you run an update, some of the time it will turn it off. So all you have to do is go back into the Windows Defender settings and turn it back on again. And then all three of them work great because they all do different things.
And this is the free version?
No, I've got a lifetime version of, I think it's 3.6 of Malwarebytes. So I'm not using the current program version, but it updates all the signatures and everything else every day.
But it's not turning off.
The main thing I use Malwarebytes for, running in the background, is to scan other connections that are trying to send crap to me that I don't want, and it blocks those, and it works really well, which is something that neither the antivirus Avast or the Windows Defender do.
Well, I just, if you use
Malwarebytes, there is still a reason for using Malwarebytes.
Well, I was just saying, if you use it, make sure that it's not turning off your Windows Defender.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's easy enough to find out. If you run Windows Update every day, which I do in the morning, and if there isn't a Windows Defender signature installing, then you know it's probably turned it off, because there's Windows Update signature files for Windows Defender several times a day. So if you run the Windows Update and one doesn't show up, then just check the settings for Windows Defender and see if it's been turned off again, which it seems to do when you do a Windows Update for some reason. And it's nothing to do with Malwarebytes or the Avast.
So where do you go to manually turn on Windows security?
In the Windows control panels, the system setup. Fastest way to get to it is hold the Windows key down and press I. That brings up the main control panel thing with all the things on it. You just go to the Windows Defender one and check the settings for it to make sure it's turned on.
Go to updates and security.
Oh, wait, I'm going to do it right here.
Please.
So we're going to do Windows I.
That's cool. I love Windows I now.
And now Windows privacy and security is under Windows 10, and that's Windows security.
Yeah, if you go to the update one, and then you go to Windows security. Yeah, you click on that, you'll see the.
Okay, but now where do I turn it on?
Yeah. So theoretically, all those green things will be gone because Windows security is no longer on. How do you?
I believe it's just the virus and the threat protection that gets turned off.
Yeah.
The what?
Virus and threat protection, the first one. Yeah.
But how do you?
It's the updates one that you want to make sure is turned on.
Bill, right there, virus threat protection, the blue one that says manage settings. Right now it says no action needed, but if you go to manage settings, there should be the option of turning off real-time protection. And that's what the other virus programs do. They turn that part off.
That's right, yeah.
Now,
And you don't do Windows. Too cool, Mr. Kennedy.
but turn it back on, Bill. Turn it back on. Turn it back on.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
I think that I think the faster way is if you have the Windows security icon showing on your taskbar, you can right click and turn it on again if it's off.
all right, there's the, let's see, which one is it?
Do a right click on that.
Did you learn that when you were having to do the Windows SIG at your group?
Oh, yep. Well, I used to use Windows SIG or Windows all the time.
There's the,
But
there's two
I've seen it
icons.
where it's off. That icon will be yellow, and you can do a right click and turn protection on.
Okay, there's two icons. One is the Microsoft Defender, and the other one is Windows Security.
And I was going to run Malwarebytes to see what would happen, but I don't think I will till we're finished.
Well, you know, the issue though is just be careful when you're running Malwarebytes, is that it can cause Windows Defender to be turned off if you're using that as your antivirus.
Yeah, but I'm not entirely convinced that it's Malwarebytes doing it, because I've noticed it do it with Windows Update.
Well, Steve, Malwarebytes is considered, depending on what version, is considered as an antivirus.
Yeah, but you can set it so that it doesn't use the antivirus part.
No, I don't know about that.
I
just know there's two versions.
It'll check. You can set it so that it'll check for open ports and IPs that are trying to send you stuff that you don't want.
Do we have anybody else with questions for Bill or security sharings for us?
Or just something random like that, that we pulled around until we came up with an answer. No more questions. Well, thank you much, Mr. James. Appreciate your
You're most welcome. And you'll get the material that I talked about in the package that Judy sends out.